Welcome to Networks Professionals.
Welcome back to The Explainer. So, today we are cracking open one of the most legendary, frankly intimidating, and highly respected certs in the entire cybersecurity world, the OSCP. Offered by OffSec, the Offensive Security Certified Professional is definitely not just some piece of paper you print out and hang on your wall. In the world of ethical hacking and pen testing, it is universally recognized as the absolute gold standard. We're talking about the ultimate hacker's rite of passage here.
And, if you're familiar with OffSec, you're definitely familiar with their famous, slightly terrifying two-word philosophy, try harder. It's not just a catchy marketing slogan, right? It's the core ethos of the whole thing. The OSCP is all about practical problem-solving, sheer persistence, and actual, real-world hacking skills. Because when you hit a wall, and trust me, you are going to hit a lot of them, there's no instructor sitting there to just hand you the answer. You just have to dig deeper. You have to try harder.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover why it's the gold standard, break down the anatomy of that infamous 24-hour exam, map out the hacker's curriculum, look at the training grounds, explore the massive career payoff, and finally ask, is it actually worth it?
All right, moving into Section 1, the gold standard of hacking.
Why does the industry care so much about this one specific cert? Well, it's simple. Traditional cybersecurity exams are usually just multiple choice. You know the drill. You memorize a bunch of terms, pick C, and completely forget it a week later. The OSCP completely throws that out the window. Recruiters absolutely love this certification because there is zero memorization-based testing. None. It forces you to actually hack into systems, escalate privileges, and prove your technical methodology in a simulated, hands-on, practical lab. Enterprise organizations, banks, cloud providers, tech giants, they all know that if you have an OSCP, you didn't just read a book about hacking, you actually know how to do it.
Let's get into Section 2, Anatomy of a 24-hour exam.
24. That is the exact number of hours you get to complete this crazy hacking marathon. The whole thing is online, and it's strictly webcam proctored the entire time. You sit down at your desk, and that clock just starts ticking down from 24 hours. Basically, say goodbye to sleep and hello to industrial amounts of caffeine. Your goal is to break into a series of highly secure simulated network targets. And here's the real kicker. When that 24-hour bloodbath is finally over, you still aren't done. You immediately get another 24 hours to write up a comprehensive professional penetration testing report detailing exactly how you compromise those systems.
So how do you actually win this boss fight? Let's break down the current scoring system. You've got 3 standalone machines worth 60 points and an Active Directory set worth 40 points, bringing the total to 100 points. To pass, you need a 70 out of 100. That means your margin for error is razor thin, guys. If you completely bomb the Active Directory section, you mathematically cannot pass. Oh, and that professional report I just mentioned, if you don't submit it or if it's just poorly documented, it's an automatic fail. Yep, even if you scored a perfect 100 on the actual hacking part.
Moving right along to Section 3, the hacker's curriculum, which is officially known as the Pen 200 training program.
To actually survive this exam, you've got to build up a really heavy arsenal of offensive security weapons. It starts with info gathering and enumeration, finding those open doors. Then you're jumping into heavy real-world exploitation. You'll need to master web app exploitation, like SQL injections, dive super deep into Linux vulnerabilities using SUID and kernel exploits, and abuse Windows registries and tokens. Plus, you have to learn the dark arts of privilege escalation, literally taking a low-level user account and turning it into an all-powerful administrator. You'll even be tackling classic buffer overflows, network tunneling, and pivoting from one compromised machine to another deep inside a network.
But there is a massive shift in the modern OSCP that you absolutely need to be aware of. Active Directory compromise is totally central to the exam now. Active Directory is the identity system used by practically every major corporation on the planet. So mastering techniques like Kerberos attacks, lateral movement, passing the hash, and credential dumping, it's completely mandatory now. You cannot fake your way through this part. You really have to understand how corporate networks are actually structured so you can break them.
Which brings us to Section 4, the training ground.
If you're sitting there right now thinking, wow, this sounds incredibly overwhelming, hey, you aren't alone. Here's the actionable path to climb this mountain, especially if you're coming in as a beginner. Step 1, you have to learn networking basics. TCP/IP, ports, DNS, routing. If you don't understand how computers talk to each other, you definitely can't intercept the conversation. Step 2, once you get that, move into Linux to master the command line, file permissions, and SSH. Step 3 is grasping baseline security concepts, equivalent to the CompTIA Security Plus. And finally, Step 4, and this is completely non-negotiable, spend hundreds of hours practicing in ethical hacking labs. Platforms like Hack the Box, TryHackMe, and VulnHub are where you absolutely have to get your hands dirty before you even touch the official OSCP labs. Managing your expectations is super key here. An absolute beginner who's doing structured prep, you're realistically looking at a 6 to 12-month journey. An intermediate IT student might need about 4 to 6 months, while a seasoned security pro might just knock the whole thing out in 2 to 4 months. The OSCP heavily rewards methodology and patience over just brute force memorization. It is very much a marathon, not a sprint.
All right, we also have to talk about the financial stakes. $1,649. That is roughly the starting base price for the Pen 200 course, and that gets you 90 days of lab access plus 1 exam attempt. If you decide you want the expanded Learn 1 package, which gives you longer lab access and multiple exam attempts, you're looking at over $2,700. So yeah, it's a very serious financial and time investment.
So why do people spend thousands of dollars and months of their lives stressing over a 24-hour exam? Let's look at Section 5, the career payoff. People put themselves through this because the global return on investment is just massive. The OSCP is highly recognized internationally. We're talking the US, the UK, Canada, the Middle East, Pakistan, India, Australia, everywhere. In the US, salaries for experienced holders range from $80,000 to well over $150,000. Over in the UAE, you're seeing $40,000 to $90,000. And in India, it's about 8 to 30 lakhs per annum. The global demand for people who can actually secure networks by successfully breaking into them, it's skyrocketing.
And these are the exact kinds of doors that open up for you. Job postings all over the world constantly use tags like OSCP Preferred or OSCP Required for their high-demand roles. We're talking penetration testers, red team operators, security consultants, ethical hackers, cloud security testers, vulnerability researchers, and even SOC analysts and threat hunters. Having this cert proves you have exactly what these specialized teams are desperately looking for, a persistent, tactical, highly offensive mindset.
All right, let's wrap this up with Section 6, is it worth it? Let's weigh the scales for a second here. On the benefit side, it's undeniably globally recognized. It forces you to build legitimate, real-world hacking skills, and the job market value is just incredible. Recruiters absolutely love it. But on the challenges side, we have to be honest. It's expensive, it's an incredibly grueling, mentally demanding time sink that requires supreme self-study discipline. And the harsh reality is, there's a really high failure rate for unprepared candidates. Plenty of people do not pass on their first try, and honestly, that's perfectly normal.
So here's what you should really take away from this explainer today. The OSCP isn't just a test, it's a complete transformation. It breaks you down and forces you to build an unbreakable methodology from the ground up. The cybersecurity industry is practically begging for highly skilled, practical hackers who can protect systems from real-world threats. The demand is there. The path is crystal clear. The only question left to answer is, do you have what it takes to try harder?
Thanks for watching.